Welcome to EdTech Stories. My name is Benjamin Vedrenne-Cloquet. I'm CEO and co-founder of EdTech Holdings and partner at Ibis Capital. EdTech Stories is a short weekly interaction with CEOs, founders, investors, and innovators shaping and making the future of education and work. So welcome to EdTech Stories, and I hope you enjoy our next session. Thank you.
Hey, my name is Felix. I'm one of the co-founders of GoStudent. I come from the beautiful city Vienna in the country of Austria. And today I'm going to share a bit more insights how we want to build the number one global school.
Felix, welcome. Welcome to EdTech Innovator Series. Before we talk about business, I have a personal question. How did you end up in that position? Is there a defining moment in your education or an important someone that inspired you to found an education technology business?
Yeah, actually, I can remember when I grew up, I remember my parents, but also my grandparents who had a big influence on my early education. My grandfather, for example, he was a person extremely passionate when it comes to mathematics and science related subjects. And he had this ability teaching you something, teaching you complex relations in mathematics in a very easy and applicable manner. And this influenced me. I later studied also mathematics and saw myself how big of an influence you can have as a great teacher. And that is today one of the biggest problems that we see in education, lack of access to great teachers. And this is the problem that we want to solve with GoStudent. And this is also the reason we started founding the company 6 years ago.
Okay, so you built GoStudent already to a unicorn status, and it's quite rare in Europe. So it's a big milestone, and congratulations. Can you tell us why you think you've been successful, not necessarily in terms of achieving the unicorn status and the funding, but more in terms of scaling? Because I know many tutoring companies that are asking that question. How do they do that?
I mean, first and foremost, maybe a more generic answer. I think team and execution, it's absolutely crucial. Together with my co-founder, Gregor Müller, I really have a strong partner. And over the first, especially 3.5 years, it has been super tough for us. The first product that we built was just a homework chat-based application. So nothing like the service that we have today. But we were persistent and we really tried to learn what is it that our target group, which in our case are actually the parents of kids that need to find the right teacher, what is it that they need and what is it that we can offer them to provide great value. So being persistent and execute it well is one part of the secret. The other part is, especially when it comes to education, and you have seen many companies in that spaces, education in the past has always been a very local business. So globally, there are amazing teams, amazing companies out there that build products that solve relevant problems in the education space, but often still on a very local level. And they never really managed to scale their applications in several countries. But you need to be able to scale in several countries to increase your addressable market and therefore also justify higher valuations because you can tap into a bigger market opportunity. And we have always been, since the beginning, we tried to be content independent. So we do not produce our own content based on the curriculum. We hire local teachers. We do that in a very operational, efficient way. And over the last 1.5 years, we managed to scale these operations rapidly in now more than 20 countries. And this has also been a big chunk of the success of the company and the fundraising trajectory in the past months.
Mm-hmm. And what did you learn during that 6 years journey from starting the business to at least success? It's not done yet, but you have achieved quite a lot. What did you learn?
I like actually the founder of Busuu, Bernhard Niesner. He once said in an interview, building a company is like running a marathon, but building an education company is like the triathlon. I can fully agree with that. I think building an education company, given the circumstances, given that you have several stakeholders that are involved. Often the users are not the payers. Given that a large chunk of the education system is not privately financed, but also publicly financed. Given the extreme localization of most of the education products, the whole environment in that space and cracking it up and aligning the interests and providing great value is something that is super tough. And also for us, when we started with GoStudent, I mean, we had, after a short amount of time, we had back then for the homework chat, more than 500,000 kids only in Germany and Austria using the product on a monthly basis, but we just couldn't find a way to monetize them. We just were not able to crack that model. And I think that's one of the trickiest part. And this is also, we had to learn that on the hard way.
Mm-hmm. And you obviously Austrian, and you've started the business in Austria, which is, in terms of size, a relatively small market. Do you think it has been a chance in a way because it forced you to think pan-Europeanly or broadly, as opposed to if you were coming just from Germany or from France or UK, which are bigger markets, bigger standalone markets?
By starting the company from Austria, definitely we were always forced from day one to think globally, because the Austrian market as a whole is just not big enough. And maybe also the thinking changed, but when I look today into the largest players in education globally, so players, for example, like Byju's from India, or US players like Duolingo, Coursera, Jag.com, I think one significant advantage that we definitely have, we always had to think global and across markets from day one. And a lot of the other existing education companies, they started in one very large market, and they focused the first years only on scaling that first core market to a large scale. And now, after they have reached a certain scale, they try to internationalize, which of course is also like a very challenging topic. So definitely by starting the company in Austria and thinking global from day one, I think now in the position that we are today, it gives us like a really strong competitive edge.
Okay, very good. And what's the next year, next 10 years trajectory for you? What do you want to achieve? How do you change learning? Make us dream.
If you think about education in general, it's one of the few industries that over the past decades has not really seen a lot of innovation. If you think about the mobility space, if you think about the healthcare industry, if you think about financial services, in all these industries, the cost and the access to get good value actually decreased. Getting good mobility services from going from A to B, it's cheaper than it was 20, 30 years ago. Getting access to buying stocks, for example, more accessible than it was 30 years ago. Getting good medical treatments, it's getting less expensive. But in education, cost actually increased. So we need to drive innovation in education. We need to make it more transparent. We need to make it more measurable to also lower the cost and provide greater value for our future generation. And our mission is to build this like number one global school. We started with offering one-on-one live online teaching. That's where we come from. And over the course of the next 5 to 10 years, we will build out this ecosystem of different services, different product lines that target the key education stakeholders, bring innovation in there, bundle the synergies, align the value, and get one step closer on educating the future generation in a much more sustainable and better way.
Mm-hmm. Is there a net tech company or even a tech company that you look up to and say, well, they've done a great job and that's an inspiration and that's a model?
Honestly, I think in several parts of industries, there are really, really interesting role models. I mean, maybe just one example. I think if you think of a company like Amazon, I think they did a great job in optimizing logistics. And they created this obsession on when you order something today, you want to have it delivered same day or at least next day delivery. Or if you want to expect like good customer services, they created this obsession around providing the greatest value to your customers. And you see this in many of the really successful tech companies nowadays, that they have built an obsession around the customers and providing the greatest value. And this is also how we think about. We want to find the perfect teachers for kids all around the world, and we build an obsession around that. And this is what drives us and gives us the motivation.
Okay. Let me ask you a question that I ask all the CEOs I interview. First, are you a lifelong learner?
100%. 100%.
So what are you learning right now?
I'm actually at the moment learning a lot around how to build kind of larger scale organizations and how to structure different departments. So this is something, when we founded the company, we were just five people sitting in a small room. Now we are already close to 1,000 people. Soon we will exceed that number. So now I'm learning actually a lot around how to structure bigger organizations, how to make it more efficient, how to improve communication across different departments. So this is just one of many examples where I need to improve myself and learn from the best.
So that's funny, because I asked this question 3 days ago to David Blake from The Grid, and he had exactly the same answer. And the book he was reading was the book that we all know, which is Blitzscaling. So that's interesting. Very good. So we're going to move to the third party of the interview, which is the rapid fire questions. So I'm going to ask you a very simple question. You're going to have to answer by A or B. Are you ready?
Yes.
Degree or skills?
B, skills.
One-to-one or one-to-many?
One-to-one.
Remote work or every day in the office?
Hybrid model.
State school or private school? It's a hard one, huh?
It's a hard one. State school with
GoStudent.
With GoStudent, yes.
Okay, profit or impact?
Impact that leads to profit.
Okay. Learners or shareholders?
Learners.
And that's probably the hardest one for you. Teacher or technology?
Teachers.
Okay, very good. That's almost the end of this interview, but I would like you to nominate the next interviewee to be part of our next EdTechX Innovator Stories, and let us know why as well.
Yeah, I would like to nominate Daniel Zacharias. He is one of the founders and CEO of the company STUI, a German-based company that simplifies school communication and digitizes schools all across Germany and already in several other countries. He founded the company, I think, straight out of high school. I have really high respect of him. We have been in touch over the course of the last years and kind of always exchanged notes and thinking. He also shared this mindset of building a global education company, and that's why I want to nominate him and bring him into the spotlight.
Very good, Daniel. Here we come. Felix, thank you very much for your participation. This was Felix Ohswald, CEO of GoStudent, for EdTechX Innovator Stories. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.